Hey everyone, it's Kathy and you're back here on my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. Thanks so much for tuning in, and as many of you know, I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located here in the beautiful state of North Carolina. If you're not currently working with a demonstrator, I would absolutely love to earn your business and help you along your crafting journey any way that I possibly can. I have customers and girls that are under me that will attest to the fact that I am always here for you. So without any further ado, look at this cute little wallet that we're going to make today. Is that not the most stinking cute thing you ever seen? And when you open it, voila, it is a candy bar holder. What a cute little stocking stuffer, a gift for a teacher, Sunday school teachers, maybe your hairdresser, your postman, your UPS guy, I mean your favorite cashier at your favorite grocery store. Just so many different people we could think that this would bring a little sweetness into their Christmas. They're easy to make, and I'm going to show you how. Alright, all we need to get started is a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I am using the thick because I want this to be kind of substantial, but you can see this one I made using the balmy blue, and then I use that beautiful snowflake vellum to cover it. Now we are going to install a magnet on this, and you need to do your magnet before you put your color over. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. It seems like it's too close on that white piece of paper and it keeps blurring on me. I think that's a little bit better. Now what I did is I did make a template for y'all, and this is going to be on the PDF tutorial, and I just have one sheet of it here. This looks wider than what it is. It is 8 1/4 by 7 1/8, and all of the red lines indicate your score lines. And then down here I have on the 8 1/4 inch side, you're going to score at 1, at 1 3/8, at 6 7/8, and at 7 1/4. Yeah, that's on the 8.5 inch side. Then you're going to turn it. You're going to turn it this way, and then you're going to score. Actually, you're going to turn it this way, and you're going to score at 2 1/4. You're going to score at 2 5/8. Then you're going to skip down. You're going to score. You know what? I did have that right. Let's see. Okay, you're going to score at 2 1/4. 2 5/8, and then 3. Then you're going to skip over and you're going to score at 5 1/4 and at 6. And that is all the scoring you need to do. We will need to come back and cut out some pieces. So we're going to cut all of this corner out up here, and then down here we're going to cut up on these lines and just cut this whole thing away. And I'm going to show you how to do that on the video. So here we go. Here is my piece of cardstock. So I'm going to grab my trusty little trimmer, and because cardstock's not always exact, anytime I have an 8 1/4, I like to take it over to 8 1/4. That way, if my paper is a little longer or shorter, it's very easy. You know what? Let's do it this way. Yeah, let's do it this way. 8 1/4. That way we're only cutting a tiny little strip off of this. And then we're going to turn it this way and cut it at 7 1/8. Looking at my notes to make sure. Yeah, 7 1/8. So 1/8 is halfway between a quarter. So just line it up and slice it. Now hang on to this piece because we're going to cut this piece as well. So this piece needs to be, you're going to need 2 of them. So 1 15/16, which is just 1 mark away from 2 on this trimmer. So if you don't have a trimmer that has 16ths on it, just come away a tiny bit from the 2, and that'll give you what you need. So we're going to cut that, and then this piece, that's not quite there. That's what I mean about cardstock not always being exact. So I'm going to put that in there just like that, and we're going to go ahead and shave off that extra little bit. so we can get our pieces where they need to be. Now we need to cut both of these, and I'm going to stack them together because they need to be 5.5. So I'm going to come over to here and cut this down to 5.5. Just like that. We're going to need to do a little bit of scoring. I'm going to go ahead and use, I don't know, let's pull out the Simply Scored score tool for this. Alright, here is my handy dandy scoring tool for me. We're going to put this in, and we're going to put it in on the, let's go ahead and start out this in this direction. And let's go ahead and score this at 2 1/4. I want to get all of my scoring done. So on the 7 1/8 inch side, we're going to score it at 2 1/4. And then we're going to score it at 2 5/8. So 2 5/8 would be right there, because you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5/8. And then we're going to score it at 3. Then we're going to skip over to 5 1/4 and 6. Then we're just going to turn it. And now we're going to score it at 1, 1 3/8, so 1, 2, 3. Uh, 6 7/8, so the last mark before the 7, and 7 1/4. And that is all of our scoring. I don't know if the white is showing the score lines. There we go. Kind of sort of see them. We're going to do some fancy trimming now, and I'm going to show you, according to the diagram, what we're going to cut away. That makes it so much simpler when you can see. Now up here you have the shorter score lines is up here, and the longer ones are down here. So turn it this way. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take a pencil, and I'm just going to mark out what we're going to cut out. So this, 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 and this, that's all going away. Same thing over here, 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 and here. And then down here, or here on the side, we're going to cut up on these score lines. I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's get these cut out first. And I'm just going to grab a little longer pair of snips to help me get these out. So I'm going to turn it around this way, and I'm going to cut just on the left side of that score line, and then here on the right side of that score line, because you just want to cut that score line away. So that's easy peasy, right? So we're going to cut this away, and then cut this away. Then we have these score lines here. We are going to cut on, you have 3 score lines, so you want to cut on the outside of each one of them. So making sure you're cutting the score line away, cut all the way up to that second cross score line, and then do the same thing on the other side. Then turn it around and do the very same thing on the other side. Cut up, and then cut up. Now to get these cut out, I like to bend these pieces back, and then it exposes that a little bit better so that I can get in there and cut that entire piece out. So I just go in like this, and then I do the same thing over here. Just bend these back and then get in there with your scissors. You might need to angle your scissors just a little bit, but you can get in there and cut that out completely. Just like that. So that's all the cutting that we need to do. So this is actually ready to start to put together. So I'm going to turn it over because I like to fold into my little mountain, my bumped raised edge. So I'm just going to burnish all of these lines. So make sure you take your bone folder and score everything, burnish all of your score lines down. You know, anytime you're making any type of box or anything that's 3D, your bone folder is crucial to getting those nice crisp lines. I'm going to do the side ones. And here. There. And there. And then here. And here. Just like that. So you can see it's starting to take shape. So there is the beginning of our little candy wallet. So I like to round some corners. So this is what I'm going to do. I have this little tiny rounder. The Stampin' Up! Retired our little corner rounder that we had last year. So I'm just coming in and using what I have. I'm sure everybody has a little corner rounder that they can use. So just come in and round your, this is your flap. I like to round those corners. And then the top of these I like to round. So I'm going to come in like this and round. I'm not going to do the bottom because the bottom is going to be covered. And do the top of this one. And then we're going to do the same thing on this one, but this one's going to be right here. So you have to close it and kind of just decide what is going to be the top. That's going to be the top when you open it up. And that's what I want rounded. So, you know, just eyeball it. And it's easier to round them now before you put Designer Series paper on, because I'm also going to round my Designer Series paper to match. So the next thing we need to do is these two pieces here are our next pieces that we need to work with. So I'm going to grab our scoreboard. Actually, I think I'm going to do these on the trimmer. That's a 4. Yeah, I scored the other one wrong. And then 5/8. Alright, I'm going to get a scrap. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like. I knew my score line looked backwards. And so I'm going to get another piece of cardstock. Alright, so this, that's just about perfect. So I know it needs to be almost 2. So right about there. So, you know, if we make a boo-boo, especially when it's just white cardstock, it's easy to fix. Move that score blade out of, out of my way, and get my cut blade and cut that. And then we're going to make sure that we've got it at 5 1/2. So 5 1/2, and looks like just a tiny little shiver needed to come off of it. So now line it up to 1/4, not 1/2. That was my mistake because I just lined it up on the wrong one to start with. So hey, that happens. And then we're going to move it over to 5/8. Now those pieces are correct. All right, so we're going to go ahead and fold these and give them a good working out. And this little bitty one can be a little bit of a booger, but if you fold your larger one first, then you can pretty much get this one to go down. That's what I like to do. So press that like that, and then bring it up like this. This is where our glue is going to go on that little 1/4 inch ledge right there. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing to this piece. I'm going to burnish my score line really well. And then we're going to turn it and burnish again. Just like that. And like that. So those two pieces are now ready to install. And where they're going to go is these 3 score lines right here. This first one is going to sit right above that very first score line right there. So you're going to sit this down just like that, and see, this is going to wrap around it. Or no, this is going to go under. Just like that. So we don't need to do any corner rounding to these, because this is going to sit flat right up under here like that. And that's going to make your pocket that's going to hold your very first piece of candy. Then we're going to do the same thing down here, but this time we're going to line this up with the very bottom of this piece. That's, again, is going to give us our little pocket that's going to hold our candy. So let's go ahead and get those glued in, and I'm going to use liquid glue. Some people like score tape for this, but I find that my liquid glue holds as good, if not better, than most all adhesives. So I'm going to take and put some, I didn't fill these up, and I should have filled them up yesterday. I worked all day long yesterday making more of the little angled treat boxes. And it's a good thing I did, because I got another box of candy that came in that I had ordered. And I was going to send it back because I paid more for it than I had anticipated. And I found it at Costco for like almost half price. And then I found out that they don't take back edibles. So I'm stuck with a box with 30 candy bars. But you know what? I'm sure that won't be a problem. I figured what I'll do is I'll make these little sleeves for everything. Now I'm lining that up right to the bottom, and I'm folding that one score line up so that I can make sure that I'm getting that flush with the bottom. See how I'm folding that one back? Then when you angle it back down, it gives you that pocket just like that. Now we're going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to take liquid glue, and I'm just going to run a bead of glue right across here. You don't want too much glue because you don't want it to ooze, but you want enough that's going to hold it. Now I'm going to bring that right down to that score line, but not impeding the score line. When I say don't impede it, make sure you're not over top of that score line, because if you are, your box will not fold up. So I always like to double check and make sure that it will fold before I let that go completely. That looks really good. So I'm going to burnish this, and I'm going to come down here and burnish this one. Now the only thing we have left to do is glue these little pieces down, and for this we want this to come up flush with each side of this. So how I do that is I put glue about to here, and I make myself like a little square, and then just run a little glue inside that square, and I bring this up. And what I do is I just make sure everything is squaring up right here. You know, when we do boxes, we want everything to look nice and even. And just hold it for a minute if you're using liquid glue, and give it a chance to take. Now we're going to do the same thing. You know what? You got to do both of these at the same time. If you don't do them both at the same time, you can't get glue on the underside of the other side of it. So I'm going to come in there and just press that down, and then I'm going to come over here to this one, make sure everything is lined up, and then press it and hold it. And if you do have any glue oozing, it's okay, just take your finger and wipe it off. It's okay. There's our bottom pocket. Now we're going to do the same thing for this one. So I'm going to open these up and put glue. You don't want it to go down past here. You just need it from the score mark up. So right along here. And the same thing over here. Just like that. Close this down. Make sure everything is squared up. And then bring this one over and make sure it's squared up. And then you just want to pinch them right like that. And then I like to turn it over and get in there with my bone folder and just give it a good little press. And there is our wrapper. How easy was that? That is our wrapper. Now we need to install our magnet. Now I like to install the magnets before I do the actually put the paper on, because you want to cover your magnets. So what I have found, and I think I might have told y'all, the basic gray magnets are a bit pricey. I went on Amazon and got these little thin magnets, and I oh my gosh, it was like 100 of them, and they're very inexpensive. And you just slide them off, and there's one, and there's two. Now they will come together and they'll fly when they pop together, but that one is together now. See how thin they are? I don't know if you can see that. They're super thin and they're small. They're smaller than the basic gray, but they're very, very strong, so they work. And I found that a glue dot will hold your magnet in perfect. So what I like to do is take my glue dots and roll it out, and take my magnet and put it onto the glue dot and press it, and then peel it up. Now I have that glue dot on the back of that magnet. So all I have to do now is decide where I want this magnet. Now I want it to live right about here, just like that, and I'm going to slide that one off, because we're not going to want to put that one on until we get well, you know what, we can do it now. Let's go ahead and put this back on. Take another glue dot. I'll tell you what, let's do the same way. When you do this, make sure when you slide this magnet off, you're putting the glue to the back side, the side that's showing. So I'm going to slide it off, make sure I'm turning it upside down to put it into my glue dot. So you don't want to put it on the, you want it to be on the opposite side. If you put it the other way, they're going to resist each other. So now I got the glue on that side. So now all I got to do is square everything up, make sure everything's square, and then just close that down. And I like to slide it. If I slide it, it doesn't pull the magnet. And once you cover it, you don't have to worry. But isn't that an easy way to install a magnet? And now we're ready to do our designer series paper. Let me grab my paper and we'll be right back. Alright, I have decided to use this Sweetest Christmas, and this goes with the candy cane. I love this paper. I think it's so pretty. I have used so much of it, and I think I want to use that one. I was thinking the stripe, but I like the little candy canes, and I have an idea. So I think I'm going to go with that piece. This paper is so pretty. I mean, that's absolutely gorgeous, but then you got this on the back. I mean, it's just no ugly paper where this is concerned. Beautiful candy cane stripes, and it just looks like candy. And what a better way to put our candy bars in a wrapper than to have it look like candy. So I'm going to lay this over to the side, and what we're going to do now is we are going to cut our pieces that we need for our DSP. So we're going to cut two that are 2 1/8 by 5 3/8. We need two, one for the front and the back, and then we also need actually two. So we're going to do front and back, and front and back, and then we're going to need two pieces for here. So, and you know, I didn't write those down. Let's look at this one and see what we got. Oh yeah, so I think, let's measure. I definitely need to write that down. Maybe I wrote it on one of these. Nope, I did not. Well, we know it's 5 1/2, so we're going to do 5 1/4 by 1 7/8. Let's measure, if I can find my ruler. Yeah, I'm so bad about losing my ruler on my desk, because you know that little booger can get up. It's right here in front of me, y'all. Oh my goodness, I know y'all never do that, right? No, of course not. All right, let's line this up, and I'm measuring from here to here. That's about 5 3/8. 1, 2, 3. 5 3/8 by 1 1/4. I'm gonna do 1 1/8. DSP is 1 1/8 by 5 3/8, and we need 2, so I'm gonna put times 2. Okay, so I think we've got all of our pieces now measured out, so let's go ahead and start cutting our cards, our designer series paper. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut off my width of my pieces. So 2 1/8. So I'm going to come right here, right in between the 2" and the 2 1/4. That would be 1/8. Get that score blade out of my way. Now we're going to have to cut all of these off on the side because they're too wide, but that's okay. I'm going to get all of my pieces cut, and then we can stack them and cut them down to the 5 3/8 very easily. There's our 2, and then we're going to need 1 at 1 inch. Well, actually, we're going to need 2, 1 inch by 5 3/8, and this is going to be so easy because everything's going to be 5 3/8. So we need 2 of those. And then we're going to need 2 at 1 1/8. That still doesn't feel right. Let me. It's 1 1/4, so 1 1/8. Yep, that is correct. All right, 1 1/8. And 1 1/8. And then this is what we have left over. So now we need to put, I'm going to put these 2 pieces together, and I'm going to bring them to 5 3/8. So there's 5. 1 2 3. Yes, I still have to count. I'd rather count and be right than to not count and be wrong and then have to recut my pieces. So I don't have a problem with counting. So I'm going to put this in here, and we're going to cut this one at 5 3/8 as well. So 5 1, let's say 5 1 2 3. And then these 2 pieces, 5 and 1 2 3, and we are done with doing these pieces. So that one's just a little bit bigger, so these go on the flap, this goes back in front, and this goes inside on the pocket. So that's easy now for us to do. But on these pieces that are going up here and here, I want to round them. So I want to decide which I want for my front and what the inside, and what I want for the outside. So this is, it really doesn't matter because this paper is non-directional, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take my little corner rounder, and I'm going to round here and here. And this piece is ready to go either side. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to do this one here, I think. Yeah, I don't think it really matters. So again, I'm going to grab my glue. Let's see if I can find one that's got a little bit more in it. And I'm going to take some liquid glue and just swirl it all over this. And this is going to cover up our magnet and glue it in between our designer series paper, and see how well that glue dot held that magnet. So easy to do those that way, and this is a very inexpensive way. I'll see if I can find the magnets on Amazon, and I will link it below my video, and that way you can go there if you wanted to pick up some of those. So now I'm going to turn it this way, and I want to look again and see which way I want this to go, and I think that's fine. So then I'm going to hold my little corner rounder, and I'm just going to clip these off just willy-nilly. And now this piece is ready to go down. And you see I'm not putting a whole lot of glue, I'm just barely swirling a little glue along here like that, and then I'm going to glue this down. Move that over just a hair, get it nice and even, and that is done. Now let's do our outside piece here, and that would be our front. So I'm going to do the same thing. I wonder what it would look like if we two-toned it. I like it. I think I like it better like that. Yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and get some glue on this. And again, I'm just covering this piece with glue. It looks like I'm putting a lot on there, but I promise you it's not much at all. Using that little fine tip bottle, and I just get those from Amazon, and 2 comes in a pack, and I have like 4 of them, and I just keep them filled with my glue and keep them right here in front of me in my little caddy. I have a little caddy right here in front of me that helps keep me a little bit organized. A little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. So we're going to do the same thing here. You know, this is so repetitious when you're putting down mats, but it is necessary. So I'm going to put glue all over this one, and then center it in right about there, just like that. And now we're going to put our pieces. I was wondering, you know, it might be cute to do the green inside like that. I don't know. I'm going to stick with the candy canes. I am going to show you something else you can do if you wanted to dress this up and put a little red on it. You can measure your tops and put like a solid red paper if you wanted to. This would have been cute done in red as well. You know, the box itself done in red. But I wanted to do it in white because I was hoping that white would help y'all see the score lines, but I'm not sure that it did. I even brought out my black mat, so hoping that that would help you being able to see it. But that's how quick that came together. What I'm talking about, you could put a strip of red across here, and if you wanted to do that, it needed to be about 1/2 inch by 5 3/8, and I wouldn't bother with the bottom because you need you need this bottom to be able to expand, and I think if you put a piece there, it's going to kind of encumber that from being able to move like it needs to. But that's our little project, and all we're going to do now is decide how we're going to decorate it. So I'm going to go grab either some dies or a punch or something, and we're going to do a little bit of decorating on this, and I have an idea what I want to use. So let me grab my supplies, and we'll be right back. Okay, what I did is I went ahead and grabbed the Handmade Wishes, and this is such a cute set because you have these little stamps that will stamp out these pieces, and you have this punch that will punch them out, and you've got all kinds of little pretties up here that you can stamp on your piece. So I think what I want to do today is I want to use, I'm thinking this one, and I'm gonna actually heat emboss it because I'm wondering how that would look, and I'm real excited with what I think this is going to do. I do have Merry Christmas already mounted on this one, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this one off. I had this one playing with it yesterday, so I'm going to put it back in here. I want that little swirly. I might I just might use my Stamparatus for this one. Okay, let's lay our Stamparatus down. Get all this other stuff out of my way. There we go, just like that. I'm going to pull my magnets off and see how they'll click to whatever that is there. So I'm going to take my piece of paper, and yeah, I know it's a little on the big side, but that's okay. I'm going to put a magnet up there and up there. I'm going to take my piece and lay it where I want it, and I want it kind of down here because it makes it easier to punch. So I'm going to lay that just like that. And let's see if we can get Merry Christmas. No, let's stamp it first. Let's go ahead and stamp this first in our Versamark ink. And I'm going to lay this up underneath here. This helps hold this nice and flat, which gives me a really good way to ink up my stamp without it being at an angle. And it keeps it nice and sturdy. So there. The other thing I need to do, and I always forget to do this, and that's powder my paper with my little powder tool. This keeps, like if I have lotion on my hands and I've touched this paper, fingerprints, if I have glue on my fingers, sometimes the glue, and it will cause your embossing powder to stick to it. So it's always a good idea to use that powder tool before you put down your Versamark ink. So I'm going to pull out my little impressionable and use it just like that, and look how pretty that is. Okay, so I am going to pull this off and lay it over here, and then I'm going to take the Merry Christmas, and I'm going to put Merry up here. This way I can get this exactly where I want it. I want to put this little swirl right about there. Hoping I'm going to have room for all this. And Christmas right here in the middle. Now it is made to fit, so it's just a matter of getting everything lined up. And let me show you a little trick. If your stamps stick to your fingers and you have trouble moving them, you can move them with an eraser. Just a regular pencil eraser. So I'm going to get that there, and then we're going to pull this down here. Something like that. That looks really good. Now that took a little bit of time to get that lined up, but I am thinking it's going to be so worth it. So let's pull that up, grab my and grab my ink. Yes, I lost my ink. Oh my goodness. So we're going to ink that up really well. And the good thing with the Stamparatus, if we don't get a good image, we can go back. So let's hope we got it really good. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, I think I do want to put one more coat of ink on it though. And give it a good press. Oh yeah, gorgeous. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my magnets up, move my paper. I'm going to lay this to the side because I need to get those stamps clean. But the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and cut this out. So I am going to cut me a piece. And I'm just using scissors because I don't want to do anything that's going to mess up my image that I painstakingly did. So now what I'm going to do is grab some white embossing powder, and we are going to emboss this, and I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful. So here's my white embossing powder, and we are going to take and sprinkle that all over it. Give it a good flick. And we need a little bit more right there, maybe right there. And you can just keep adding your embossing powder until you get it where you want it, you know, to look. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You just want to put the embossing powder all over it and then tap it off. You always want to give it a good thump. If you look and see that you have embossing powder somewhere you don't want it, that's when you want to take a little paintbrush or the little brush that comes in with the little tool that we have now for embossing, and I'll link that on my PDF. It's called the Embossing Essentials or something like that. You get the powder tool, the tweezers, a brush, and a nice little tray. Now I keep mine because I do so much embossing with my YouTube channel. I keep mine in the little thing, but if I wasn't and I wanted to put it back in the little jar that it comes in, that little tray is absolutely wonderful because it has a cap on it, and you can get all of your powder down into that cap, open it, and let it flow right back into your jar. Alright, we're going to grab our heat tool. Now this is noisy, so bear with me. I'm going to heat it up just for a few minutes before I take it to my project. So here we go. This is the Stampin' Up! Heat tool, and I love this. It is such a great tool to have. It has 2 heat settings, 1 and 2. I have it on 2. Anytime that you're doing embossing, you want it on 2. Now that feels like it's gotten nice and warm. I'm going to start on the back side of my paper. I like to heat my paper from the back first, and then I bring it to the front, and I start embossing it. And I do need my tweezers because that's burning my fingers. This is the tweezers that come with it, and they are wonderful. You're going to start seeing that change right now. See it turning from like that dull gray into that vivid white. So pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that. I say this every time I heat emboss, but it's so true. I never ever get tired of seeing this process. It just makes me happy. So here is my punch. So I'm going to go in like so. I'm going to line everything up into my punch just like I want it to punch. Once I get it, the Stampin' Up! Punches have it like a little, almost like a little locking mechanism, where if you just barely press, it will hold it but not punch it. So that gives you, then you can come up off of it, wiggle it around, get it exactly where you want it. I want to come up and over just a hair. Once I get that exactly where I want it, then I've got it in there, and I'm going to go ahead and punch. And look how gorgeous that turned out. And that's going to look so pretty on those candy canes. So let's pull our box back in, and we can just sit this on here just like that and leave it as is. But I want to cut a little bit of greenery, so I'm going to grab my, I think I want to do either these or these. Let me look at my dies and see what they look like. So it is the Marius Frame dies. These actually come with embossing folders, so I have my embossing folder in here with them so that when I need to use it, I have exactly what I need. So I think this piece and maybe this piece are the two that I want to use. Yeah, I want this one and this one. I just want a little bit of greenery on it. I think it would be so pretty with just a tad bit of greenery. So I'm going to slide this back in. If y'all hear some dinging or something that sounds like a circus, that's actually my washer or my dryer in there buzzing for me. So when I get up in the mornings, I usually try my best to do a little bit around the house before I head into here. And then once this afternoon rolls around, I will go back into there, and of course I do take breaks throughout the day and go and do a few things around the house. I have to, so I'm not sitting all day, which is definitely not good for us. I'm gonna grab a piece of garden green. I'm gonna grab my garden green ink pad, and I think I want to stamp that on. Bella girl, you gotta move, honey. I'm sorry. Let's do garden green. I like the tone on tone, so let's see what it would look like on our garden green. I don't have a whole lot of scraps of garden green. Look at this. That's okay. I think we can make this work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab those two pieces out. It's this one and this one. And I just want to stamp those. So I'm going to grab a stamp block. I think this one will work, and we can stamp them both at the same time, which is definitely a time saver. And I'm going to want two of those. I want one here. Let's see if we can get the other one on this piece. I know I'm out of frame, y'all. I'm sorry. Let me get this stamped and I'll bring it right back up. Here we go. There. I think that's going to be sufficient. And we'll die cut those pieces. So let me go and get those die cut, and we'll meet right back up. Alright, I'm back and I got my pieces cut. So now all we have to do is decorate this. So in order to decorate, we just want to put some of these little greeneries around here like that. And maybe over on this side like this. And like this. And that's all we're going to do to decorate that. And look how festive it looks. I think it's gorgeous like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide how I want to glue these down, and I think I want them just like they are. So I'm going to run a little bit of glue right here and just sit that down in it. I'm going to put some glue on the back of this one and sit that one right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to kind of bring that one down. Yeah, and this one's going to get a little glue up underneath here, and then this one's going to get glue right there. Now all we have to do is put some dimensionals on this, and if you notice, it's going to stay to the top. So we're only going to put dimensionals. You know what? I don't even think we need dimensionals. I think we can glue this flat down. We're only going to glue up here at the top though. So I'm going to put some glue right here. Just like that. And then set that down like so. And hold it for a minute, just make sure everything gets set. And we are done with this little candy box, all except one very important thing. And that's putting our candy bars in. So, for this one, I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to, I don't know, let's do 2 regular Hershey bars. It's not quite wide enough to put a Kit Kat or a Reese's cup in. It causes it to bulge just a little bit. So for that reason, I'm not going to use those particular ones. I am going to run a little bit more glue right up under here, just to kind of reinforce that little tag. There we go. So now we can take a Hershey bar, and you're going to need to fold back the little flaps on it. And that's going to slide in just like that. And fold the flaps back on this one. And it's going to slide in just about like, this one's always a little bit harder to get in, but it does fit. And then you close it, and you close it. And there is our beautiful little wallet. Oops, I got my pen stuck on the back of it. Isn't that stinking cute? I love the way this one turned out. I think it's very festive. Merry Christmas. What a cute little gift to give to your child's teacher. There's, like I said, there's so many people in our lives that this would really brighten their day. Make some of these and have them in your purse, and hand them out just to give a smile on someone's face. Because I don't know about y'all, but a Hershey bar always makes me smile. So share a little love this Christmas, and make some treats maybe for someone that you normally wouldn't give to, and show that you care and you love. That is our job, is to love one another. So thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to zoom in so you can get a better look at this. See just how pretty it is. Isn't that gorgeous? I just want to thank you so much for tuning in with me today and watching me put together these cute little candy bar wallets. So much fun, and God bless and keep you. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is worthy. Until we craft again, stay well, and I love you. Bye-bye.